What if you could build a complete high quality multi level rubric in under 5 minutes? Markers, tutors, and lecturers frequently struggle to define consistent, fair criteria that are easy for students to understand, leading to grading fatigue and inconsistent feedback. As academic professionals, we know that a well defined rubric is the backbone of fair and transparent assessment. However, the manual labor required to draft one from scratch often takes hours. Today, we are exploring a high level workflow using ChatGPT to streamline your assignment design without sacrificing academic rigor. First of all, we must feed ChatGPT our learning outcomes. Oftentimes, by the time you get to the point of creating grading rubrics, you already have the learning outcomes for that assessment. So I am going to paste this prompt here. So this prompt has given AI a role. Also, I am asking it to deconstruct, each laying out comes into verbs, nouns, and implied competencies, cognitive demands that are mapped to Bloom's taxonomy, and disciplinary expectations that must inform the marking rubric for a level 6 assessment. All right. I'm also telling AI that the purpose behind this is that I intend to create a marking rubric for a final year BSc Business Management case study analysis. Okay, as you can see, and right at the bottom, you can see my learning outcome one right here in terms of learning and understanding. All right, what students are expected to demonstrate, and my learning outcomes two is right there at the bottom in terms of skills and abilities. So what I'm going to do now, I will click on send. Okay, this has now been completed. You can see that is provided. You can see learning outcome one here in terms of knowledge and understanding. Okay, the core statement it has been repeated, and then the verbs provided in terms of what students are expected to demonstrate. Okay, the nouns also is right there at the bottom. Okay, and then the implied competencies is right there as the number three item. All right, and next you've got cognitive demands mapped to Bloom's taxonomy. All right, which is also there clearly undertaken, and then the disciplinary sector expectation, the rubric should encode. So that is also provided, and of course, rooming directions directly implied by learning object outcome one. All right, so you can see that it has clearly broken down or tried to map learning outcomes to those four criteria that I provided. The same thing has been done to learning outcome two, as you can see. The same thing has been done to learning outcome two. The verbs are there, the nouns, implied competencies, cognitive demands mapped to Bloom, disciplinary sector expectations, and then the rubric dimensions directly implied by learning outcome two. So this is the end of this stage. Once these constructs are identified, we move to step two. We are going to tell the AI to draft criteria that align with these four constructs. We are asking AI to translate abstract skills into observable assessment dimensions. So I'm going to paste these prompts right here. So you can see that I'm asking the AI to translate the analyzed learning outcomes from prompt one into clear, accessible, aligned discipline specific criteria that will form the backbone of a level 6 marking rubric for a final year BSc management case study analysis. Okay, you can see that I've given it very clear context, and the task is to draft a set of 3 to 5 distinct performance domains that are written as observable and accessible criterion statements, and I've given it exactly the format I want it to provide the output. Your final output must include a table with the following columns. There has to be criterion title, criterion statement, linked learning outcomes, core construct addressed, cognitive level, disciplinary expectation embedded, and possible criteria weighing. So I'm going to click on send. As you can see, you will realize that it has followed the instruction that I provided. It has provided criterion title one, two, three, four, and five. Yes, there's five criterion title. There's criterion statement. All right, of which are of course in terms of the things that students are supposed to demonstrate, which are observable and accessible. The learn outcomes that they are linked to, all right, and the core constructs that are meant to be addressed has also been provided. So let me go to, yes, so you can see that is also provided the cognitive level in terms of, as it links to the learning outcomes, and of course the disciplinary expectations from, of course, within that discipline. So you can see that yes, they win above sum up to 100%. And of course, we can always get back to this, but this is not the focus at the moment. And that is the end of step two. Now let's get specific. Request the AI to generate cognitive verbs for each grade band at level 6 for every criterion. This ensures your rubric targets higher order thinking rather than just basic recall. So this step is extremely important because to ensure the rubric is appropriate for final year undergraduate work, we must specify the level. The level is very, very important. This ensures that we see verbs like evaluate or critique for higher marks rather than just describe. So what I'm going to do, again, I will paste this prompt saying that, giving the AI a role to act as a curriculum designer here, who understands how cognitive verbs shape differentiation and academic rigor. Your purpose is to generate a set of cognitive verbs that clearly differentiate performance across six grade bands for level six assessments aligned to the outputs in prompt 2. Upon clicking send, you can see that it has now provided a list of the grade band, one after another, with the Bloom's level, cognitive profile attached to that particular Bloom's level at that grade band, the appropriateness in terms of that, performance within the context of the discipline, and of course, notes on how these verbs support level 6 expectations. So it has done that based on the six grade bands that were previously suggested, range from fail, third class, lower second class, upper second class, and first class, as well as highest first. Don't forget, you can always change it, the wordings if it is not suitable to your context. So you can see that it has performed that. Also, make sure that you have a second look before you proceed, ensuring particularly that the Bloom's level and the cognitive verbs are applicable to that particular grade band. And that is the end of this stage, and then we move to the next one. The next stage is to now synthesize. We will be synthesizing all the outputs that we've had so far. So in this step, we will be commanding AI to produce a 6-tier rubric using these verbs and the criteria that has previously been provided. Don't forget, depending on your context, you might pick, it might be 4-tier rubric, it might be a 5-tier rubric, but in this use case, I am using the 6-tier rubric. So I will paste this prompt here. So you can see this prompt is following the part framework, starting with the purpose, the audience, the role that you want the AI to assume, the task that you expect of the AI, and the structure of the output. So I will now, so because what this does is that it now creates the actual grid that will be used for marking. So I'll click on send. You can now see that the AI has generated a marking rubric following the instruction I provided. You can see the criteria on the left hand side of the page. That's criteria 1 to 5. You can see that it has followed the hierarchically cognitive relevant descriptors from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 up to tier 4. You can see that it has covered all the range right from 0 up until 100% on the right hand side of the screen. Some of the column, of course, has got some of the rows has got more than one grid band on it. You can see this one has got 40 to 49 and 50 to 59. But within it, you can see that there is a clear progression in terms of improvement on the performance that this rubric is meant to assess in terms of the student's performance. While the AI has provided good enough grading rubric, you want to ensure internal consistency in terms of reliably differentiating between the level of performances. So we have to ask the AI at the final step to refine for clarity, discrimination, and constructive alignment. This step removes ambiguity and ensures that each grade level is distinctly different from the next. So you want to ensure, and most importantly, that there is a clear difference between the tiers to ensure that markers can easily distinguish between, say, 65 and the 75. So what I'm going to do, I will paste this prompt on here, asking the AI to conduct a rigorous quality assurance review. All right, and I've provided a set of criteria that the quality assurance review must cover. So I will click on send. Again, you can see that the AI is followed the instruction provided. It has refined the previously presented rubric, and with a quick observation or a quick review, I can see some differences, in particular in the terms of wording between this new rubric, this form, and the previous one. Okay, and you can see based on my instruction as well, I asked it to provide some quality assurance commentary based on the constructive alignment with learning objectives, cognitive accuracy and level 6 demand, internal consistency and discrimination, clarity, usability, and fairness, as well as disciplinary authenticity, and particularly very short summary on readiness for use. Okay, you want to pay attention to this as well, just to because it might end up, giving you a few more tips on areas that you might want to improve on with regards to this rubric. By using this granular workflow, you ensure marking consistency across all your assessments, saving you hours while providing students with total transparency. Using AI to map cognitive verbs directly to learning outcomes, we've ensured that the assessment task and the marking criteria are theoretically bonded. Remember, you must keep yourself in the loop at all times and make changes wherever necessary. AI only creates the draft. You, as the academic, provide the expert judgment, which of course requires continuous manual refinement. You could ask the AI to define threshold standards, that is the bare minimum to pass separately from the excellence standards. Alternatively, you may go ahead and ask it to suggest a marker guidance sheet. All these are further means of improving and contextualizing the content or the rubric generated by AI. If you find this workflow helpful for your marking, share this video with your colleague. Please subscribe for more evidence-based academic productivity tips. Leave a comment below if you like copy of some of the specific prompt sequence used in this video. I'll see you in the next one.